What's up, everybody? It's DisThunder. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff if you are watching this as this posts. Today we're going to take a look at the Mezco 112 Collective Ghost Machine Junkyard Joe figure. If you're not familiar with Junkyard Joe or Ghost Machine, I recommend remedying that as quickly as you can. The comic came out in 2022. It's by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank with Brad Anderson. It was a limited series. I think there is more planned, naturally. They are collected in trade. Trade came out last year. I read the trade late last year, loved it, and actually picked up some Ghost Machine stuff since, like Rook, which also I've very much enjoyed. So it's a great imprint if you're looking for something familiar but a little different than what the big two are offering. Images really kind of coming in clutch in this very boring period in comics for me. As for Junkyard Joe himself, the story goes he is a R&D military creation during the Vietnam era. He is deployed, I'd say kind of toward the middle end period of the Vietnam War with a platoon for field testing. And a member of that platoon is a young cartoonist by the name of Muddy Davis, who over time, like the rest of the unit, becomes friends with Junkyard Joe. I'm loath to give away a lot of plot points here because, man, I really think it's worth reading if you guys haven't. But suffice to say, it doesn't go as planned, and during the post-war years, Muddy is convinced that Junkyard Joe wasn't real and instead a fabrication of his imagination, and he writes comic strips about Junkyard Joe as kind of his way of processing this. And that's all fine and good for the interim 50 years until Junkyard Joe shows up at Muddy's doorstep. Actually, I think it's pretty close to Christmas time evening. So there you go. And honestly, I don't know how much more I can tell you without giving away the bulk of the plot. So that's where I'm going to leave it. That frees me up to talk about articulation. Take his helmet off here and take a look at this very nice head sculpt. He has just the one, since he's a robot and doesn't really do expression. Ball joint at the top there, and it goes down into what would be his collarbone if he had bones. There is actually a green undershirt under there. I was kind of trying to get a look at it for you, but can't really see it. But it is there. We've got a ball jointed shoulder that allows for a pretty good range outward and pretty good range up. Be careful with these. Some of these have been really tight out of the box, I've noticed. There is a bicep swivel as well, and a really good double-jointed elbow. Some of this is limited by the uniform shirt itself, but take it easy when you first get them out, just to be safe. Similarly, you've got two joints in the torso, an upper and a waist joint, allow for a decent range forward and back, especially considering he's wearing a uniform shirt with an Alice rig. I think it's decent. Ball-jointed hips as well. Uniform pants are tight, so forward is about that far, although the body can go further. Double-jointed knee similarly has a really good range of motion, but it gets awful tight there at the full tilt there. Then you've got a ball socket on his boots, and his jungle boots, and the outward motion is similarly about there as far as you're going to get. He has these nice, small, but pretty effective little ball-jointed wrists, similar to what we've had before. And then again, those ball joints on his jungle boots, they're a little gummy going forward and back. I'm not sure why that is, but the side-to-side range on him is pretty good. So it may be something that just needs to break in over time. For accessories, we have the aforementioned helmet and some optional hands that actually have accessories as well, like these playing card hands that you're seeing right now. The Alice rig is removable, which if anybody's removed an Alice rig in their life, you know that just means it's going to be a mess on a floor somewhere. And he has a sling on his M16, which we'll get into a little bit later. Actually, no, let's do those now. So the aforementioned M16A1 with sling, helmet you saw before, canteen, 1911 pistol, bayonet for M16, M26 grenade, there's actually 3 of those, anti-personnel mine, couple packs of smokes, chocolate bar, and a coffee cup. That rounds out his non-connected accessories. As far as the guns themselves go, I think we've had quite a few 1911s in 112 over the last 6-7 years or so. This one is still unique among the 1911s. It does have a working slide, comes with a spare mag, you can swap them out. But I like the patina finish to it, or the kind of bare metal, even though it's not. I think it's like a Parkerized, but that's how a lot of field issued 1911s work. But what I really want to talk about is this M16A1 that they've created here. This might be my favorite 112 collective gun, and I do not say that lightly. So here's Joe's M16A1. Note it does have a forward assist Not on this side, but on this side right there. That is, like I said, that's not something that's on every A1. Most of the original ones do not, but some of the later ones do. It does have the smaller 20 round mag. Yeah, there we go. Just like that, and leaves that little angle cut like that. What I want to talk about is the bayonet. So as you can see, you line up and there's actually a notch right there. I mean, that is pretty damn close to the real thing, as I will show you in a second. Oh, also this is a barbed wire cutting slot for the flash hider. Okay kids, so this is my M16A1. It's a Wyndham reproduction. As you can see, buttstock is correct, foregrip is correct, birdcage flash hider at the top. Mezco nailed all that. Mine has a 20 round waffle mag in it. Those are a little more rare. These mags are also acceptable. This is pretty close to what the Mezco one has. This would also be very similar to what was issued with it. You occasionally come across these with a slight curve before we get to the 30 round mags. But what I want to talk about is up top here, back to this flash hider and this bayonet lug. That takes this bayonet right here. So what you would do, move over here, sorry, slide it down, and then you grab these little claw guys here, bam. That's how you fix a bayonet on an M16A1. I think Junkyard Joe is a good example of quantity over quality because, well, frankly, I mean, he is based on he's a military robot. So he's based on a concept that is you get what you need and you skip the surplus to requirements, which is kind of a nice refresher once in a while. We get so many figures, I think sometimes you feel a little spoiled in accessories. For example, when it comes to his uniform and his Alice rig, there's a lot of thought that went into this. You can take the 1911, of course, and you can put it in the hip holster. But this canvas holster actually has a bendy wire that runs to the top flap, which might be the best solution I've seen for that in 1.6 or 112. And you've got a sheath for his bayonet that can go on his left side. There's space on the Alice belt to put like his grenades if you wanted to. You could probably have done with a canteen pouch, but then again, you may not have been issued one, so it might be in your rucksack. For size comparisons, here he is with my Supreme Knight Batman. As you can see, Junkyard Joe is not an overly imposing robot. He's actually very humanoid-sized. What makes him special, of course, is the unique body he has underneath and the almost skeletal frame that he has, which the uniform does a really cool job of kind of filling out. I think there's also some clever parts in there to kind of bulk up his torso. Here he is with a couple of, what are they? Are they Apex Legends robots I got at Ross? I already broke the arm off of one because they're kind of pieces of shit, but they're robots, so here they are for comparison's sake. And here he is with the Mezco G.I. Joe Duke, because I'm sure a lot of people are kind of thinking the same wavelength here as like, you're going to use him as a G.I. robot, or you're going to have Junkyard Joe crossover with the Joes. Actually, Skybound is also Image, so that's not entirely out of the question, is it? One of the reasons that 112 Collective is my favorite line is because this is all the crossovers I ever wanted all in one company. This is the stuff that I used to do in the backyard in the 80s and 90s with Kenner and Mattel figures, and now I just buy them all from one place. And here he is with the Power Rangers RPD robot, whose name I don't remember, who surprisingly is very close in size. I have 3 of these. One of these broke too. Also kind of piece of shit. Not Hasbro's best line. Power Rangers was a bit of a disappointment. And lastly, here he is with the Jazzwares Halo. This is actually my favorite Master Chief that they have done so far, because at the moment, I don't have any other Image or Ghost Machine characters to pair him up with. And based on some of the teasers from the comics, I feel like he's kind of crossover imminent. So hopefully we get to see some more Image stuff make its way into Mezco's 112 line. And then he won't be so lonely. Junkyard Joe really kind of hit me by surprise when he got revealed. I think that was springtime. It feels like it happened really fast, but I guess it was probably the usual 9-10 months. Was not expecting to see Image characters, let alone new Image characters like this in 112. And like so many other things, I've said this many times about many figures in this line, it opens up a lot of possibilities, which is just as exciting as the figure himself. I'm very enthused at the idea of Image getting a seat at the 112 Collective Banquet, because there are plenty of Image characters I would love to see in this line. Like Rook Exodus that I mentioned earlier, The characters of that book are made for 112. I mean, it would be a perfect fit. And where Junkyard Joe is a standalone character, he is, I don't see them doing a Muddy Davis or going back and doing his platoon. I would buy them if they did. It would be cool to see some other Ghost Machine characters make their way in because, like I said, it feels like they're kind of building toward a team of some sort. So when it comes to recommending the figure, that is an easy recommendation if you like any kind of militaria whatsoever, or if you like robots, or if you like robot militaria, this guy is right up your alley, as is the comic that goes with him. So I would, if you could, in a perfect world, grab both. Grab the trade and grab the figure. I think he's waitlisted, which is unfortunate, but we've seen additional runs on figures in recent months, so doesn't mean it's completely impossible to get your hands on one. I would even consider going secondary market for him if you have to, just because he's just an incredibly unique figure and he's extremely well done. Almost a little bit like kind of on his own in the 112 universe as far as his style and stuff goes. So thank you as always to Mezco Toys for helping me get a copy to review for you guys and take some pictures of. Like I said, some of my favorite accessories in 112 so far, and there's a lot of stuff in 112 I like, so that's pretty damn cool. And I'm going to repeat myself one more damn time. Check out the books if you can. I think you will enjoy them. Thank you for coming through to watch the review. I hope you enjoy your holidays, and I will see you in the next year. Take care.